The following video review contains spoilers for Mission Impossible, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which you should definitely watch before heading out to the theater to catch the new one. The two are surprisingly connected. And you should probably watch Ghost Protocol again while you're at it. And 3. And 1. But not 2. Never watch 2. So without further ado, Mission Impossible premiered in 1966, introducing America to the many skilled and courageous agents of the IMF, who for 7 years and 170+ episodes carried out challenging covert assignments all over the world, racking up a number of Emmy Awards and Golden Globes in its storied tenure. Fast forward to 1996, when updating successful television properties from bygone eras with built-in, ready-made audiences became all the rage amongst Hollywood producers and studios, seeking new ways to ensure maximum profit while incurring minimal risk. A tactic that, let's be honest, when it worked, it really delivered, but was just as likely, if not more so, to produce disastrous results as it was positive ones. Though I maintain the A-Team movie is damn near perfect, and if you come at me over that, I will fight you. Just tell me when and where. Wow! 1996 gave us the first Mission Impossible, a blockbuster in every sense of the term. Box office dynamo and well-known crazy person Tom Cruise took the lead as Ethan Hunt, IMF's top and, following the horrific, systematic, and unceremonious deaths of nearly every member of his team, only agent. Theatergoers did not delight in a show originally devoted to a cohesive unit basically becoming the Tom Cruise variety hour, and series fans especially could be heard groaning from miles away when longtime IMF hero and pointman Jim Phelps was revealed to be the film's main villain.
Why, Jim?
Yeah, Jim, why? Anyway, the film is, for better or worse, pure Brian De Palma. Tense, twisty, and occasionally needlessly convoluted, the end result warranting forgiveness and even praise primarily for whisking audiences along on a fun-filled globe-trotting adventure from Prague to London and delivering a couple of truly memorable action sequences that set the tone for not only the MI franchise, but a number of others and continues to inspire to this day. 3.5 stars. Okay, let's just get this one over with. In 2000, we were all elated the world didn't end with the omnipresent peril of Y2K, whatever that was supposed to herald, but we all immediately kinda wished it had when Mission Impossible 2 released. Directed by John Woo, who is admittedly the hottest of shits here in the States after coming off the heels of his ambitious and ludicrous cosmetic surgery-based bullet orgy face-off. I mean, the man works in violence and mayhem the way other artists work in clay. The combination of MI2's absurd plot, its shameful misuse of Tandy Newton, that milquetoast-ass villain,
thank you,
this f***ing guy, and its PG-13 rating rendered it a sloppy, toothless, barely watchable mess that is so mind-numbingly dumb it could serve as ripe fodder for an upcoming episode of Riff Tracks Live. And don't get me started on that theme song by Limp Bizkit. Watch it for the shootouts, the motorcycle chase, and the doves, I guess, but turn it off when you get here because it only gets sillier. 2 stars. Moving on. 2006, Lost and Alias television series creator, Force Awakens director, and mystery box-loving master of misdirection J.J. Abrams.
My name is Khan.
Nah, I'm kidding. He's bad at it and needs to stop. Abrams took the reins of the MI franchise, reeling still from its last calamitous outing, and injected new, preposterous life into it with an enthusiastic course correction that, while far from flawless, set Mission Impossible on the path to greatness. Ethan Hunt is engaged, retired from the IMF and the life of a super spy, but when a recruit he trained is blown to smithereens by franchise bad guy Hall of Famer Owen Davian, played with an impeccable calculation that is ice cold by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, he comes back with a vengeance. This one gets pretty ridiculous at times, to be fair. There's a helicopter chase through windmills that's kinda bonkers, it loses considerable steam after the halfway mark, and PSH just cannot stop putting explosive charges in people's heads.
You put an explosive charge in your head.
See what I mean? That said, it's pretty solid. The team, now that there finally is one, is very cool. The drone shootout on the bridge is incredible. There's a marvelous scene that shows you how the rubber masks crucial to every plan are made. Simon Pegg adds a welcome levity to the series that's been missing for far too long. The MacGuffin is appropriately meaningless, and there simply aren't enough good things to say about Hoffman's Davian. He is electric from the first time he puts a bomb in somebody's head until the moment he gets run over by a garbage truck. 3.75 stars. Here's where things start to get crazy in a good way. 2011, Brad Bird, yes that Brad Bird, takes over directing duties for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, crafting a zealous, energetic, high-spirited spy yarn in his live-action directorial debut that features my favorite IMF team to date and a fearless, nothing-but-strikes approach to the action sequences that remains the unassailable gold standard for the franchise.
You're quite taken with him, aren't you?
A mission to stop a madman from detonating a nuclear bomb takes Hunt and company from a slick Kremlin break-in in Moscow to the nail-biting and unforgettable Burj Khalifa sequence and subsequent foot chase turned sandstorm-beset car chase in Dubai. Jeremy Renner and Paula Patton are along for the ride, adding to a cocktail of sheer unhinged fun and spectacle that leaves you dizzy.
Mission accomplished!
4.75 stars. 2015, The Usual Suspects and Way of the Guns Christopher McQuarrie finally proving to the world what the rest of us have always known, spearheads Mission Impossible Rogue Nation as writer and director to give us the most intelligent and sinister entry in the franchise yet. The Syndicate, a well-funded anti-IMF comprised of evil, disavowed mercenary agents led by the brutal and brilliant Solomon Lane, takes aim at Hunt and Company in a bid to finance his global terrorism network into perpetuity. Rebecca Ferguson joins the cast as former MI6 agent Ilsa Faust and delivers intensity, passion, and grace as well as a handful of sharp hand-to-hand combat scenes in the most labyrinthine installment of the series yet. 4.25 stars easily. Now, I don't want to sound biased, but second only to Avengers Infinity War, Mission Impossible Fallout was the movie I was most anticipating this summer. In the wake of Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, it had a high bar to hurdle, and it clears it with room to spare. McQuarrie thankfully returns as writer and director, picking up where the last film left off. The absence of Solomon Lane has caused the insidious Syndicate to devolve into a greater threat than ever before, a ruthless splinter cell of agents called the Apostles, now bent on a level of world-ruining catastrophe neither Hunt or the IMF could have dreamed possible.
It's much worse than you think.
When the IMF loses 3 plutonium cores in a failed op, CIA Director Erica Sloan, played by Angela Bassett, assigns her man, the imposing powerhouse August Walker, to work with Hunt and his team to retrieve them before the Apostles can use them to build nuclear weapons for their own devious ends. Walker, played by Man of Steel's Henry Cavill, seen here wearing the mustache heard round the world, the same one fools erroneously believed to be responsible for the failure of Justice League, is as much the anti-Ethan Hunt as Solomon Lane was. Where Hunt and Lane are scalpels, precision tools with laser focus, Walker is, in Sloan's own words, a hammer, a blunt weapon, both in demeanor and methodology. Plus there's this. Reunited with Ving Rhames computer hacker Luther Stickle and Simon Pegg's technical field agent Benji Dunn, Hunt sets off to recover the cores, running afoul of Rebecca Ferguson's Faust along the way, who deserves praise for breaking the streak of awesome female agents who were introduced and mysteriously never seen again. Let me first start by saying how much I love how closely the events of Fallout are tied to Rogue Nation. It dispels the myth that every mission gets tied off neatly the moment the bomb is defused or the mastermind is apprehended, and to learn there were severe repercussions to the team's so-called victory in Rogue Nation was awesome.
But that ball, though, it keeps on bouncing.
Many are already calling it one of the best action movies ever, and while that seems a bit hyperbolic, one cannot dismiss the technical mastery on display where the action sequences are concerned. The size, speed, and complexity of the set pieces are nothing short of jaw-dropping. Every fight scene is a white-knuckle nail-biter. Every car, motorcycle, helicopter, and foot chase an exercise in held breath, armrest gripping tension. And the audacity of the stunt work is simply unbelievable, near unparalleled. How do these movies even get insured anymore? There must be a meeting every time they pitch one of these where some guy says, "Wait, he wants to do what?"
I'm jumping out a window! Oh, sorry. Good luck.
I also have to applaud Annihilation and Ex Machina cinematographer Rob Hardy because Fallout is gorgeous. Vibrant with a saturated color palette that doesn't sacrifice realism, and beautifully lit, it's as much a feast for the eyes as it is for the ears. I say ears because the next round of applause goes to Lauren Balva, whose thunderous percussive score for this is practically its own star. Part Hans Zimmer's Dark Knight, part John Powell's Bourne Ultimatum, and all pulse-pounding, it marries itself to the visuals with seamless effectiveness, catapulting already stunning scenes to unforgettable levels, and begs you to download the soundtrack the moment you leave the theater. I couldn't help but be reminded of the binary sunset scene from Star Wars A New Hope, the cathedral climb from Batman, or the map room sequence from Raiders of the Lost Ark, instances when the movie allows the score to take over, making powerful dramatic moments come alive before your eyes, moments that take root in your memory until you find yourself reliving the scene whenever the music is heard. McQuarrie has truly outdone himself here, both in the director's chair as well as in the writer's room. Fallout has more twists than a pretzel, more turns than a Formula 1 racetrack, and enough double crosses and reversals of fortune to obliterate even the most astute expectations, the most certain of predictions. Now, it isn't perfect, of course. I mean, what is other than Point Break?
I am an FBI agent!
The film comes out of the gate swinging hard, but overstays its welcome by about 15 minutes, particularly in the final action scene, which starts to tax my investment despite what a rip-roaring good time it is. By the time it finally ends, I wasn't certain if I was relieved or just exhausted. And for as exceptional as the action is, for as harrowing as the adventure becomes, and for as close to home as the danger hits, no amount of daring do can distract you from the dialogue, which suffers from too much exposition and what I can only assume is deliberate decision to pepper those expository scenes with lines designed to ensure the audience is still following along. It was easy enough to ignore at first, but after the third or fourth instance, I began to find it difficult to dismiss. To the writing, I must also add this. Henry Cavill's delivery is frequently distractingly wooden, and with everyone else around him bringing their A-game to each scene, it only made the gulf between them easier to detect. Did I say his acting was wooden? It's not. I didn't mean that. He's actually quite good and moving on. Actually, Cavill's Walker isn't the character I imagined he'd be. While undeniably menacing and quite capable, he didn't come off as nearly as formidable as I was expecting. That's something I'll get over most likely, considering it's the trailer that tailored my expectations of the kind of character he'd ultimately turn out to be, and the fact that I haven't learned by now not to trust trailer says more about me than it does any movie. I love that the only idea from the hackneyed Mission Impossible 2 that has managed to find its way into the other films is that Ethan Hunt can ride the hell out of a motorcycle. I mean, of all the things to keep, that's a pretty good one. And yet, as much fun as the action set pieces in Fallout are, Hunt's survival too much of the time in this outing seemed determined by luck, not skill. One of the rules in the Pixar Guide to Storytelling is, coincidence can get your characters into trouble, but it should never get them out of it. And I found that Hunt survived one too many times for my taste through sheer luck, something that stripped the considerable tension and robbed the film of drama. That said, none of this comes close to holding the film back. It is a triumph, a non-stop tour de force that rewards and surprises at every turn. In all sincerity, I hope they never stop making these, because at 6 movies in and showing no signs of slowing down, the Mission Impossible series has claimed its well-earned place atop the franchise heap, where I hope it remains for many more installments to come. I'm giving Mission Impossible Fallout 4.25 stars. 4.5 stars. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed today's episode, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow Tangent1985 on Twitter for more updates. I'm M. Glenn Gore, and I'll see you next time.